Shalom, my name is Joseph Shulam, and I'm the founder and the retired director of Nativia Bible Instruction Ministries in Jerusalem, and a partner and a co-founder of several congregations in the world. And I've been doing Mind Candy. Mind Candy, my dear friends and brothers, is finding things that are unusual or misunderstood or not remembered in the Bible and trying to elucidate them, open them up for our brothers and sisters around the world. Today is Friday, March 10th, and a couple of days ago died Chaim Topol, one of the finest Israeli theater and movie actors, and a leader of doing a lot of very good charities for children who have serious illnesses. He opened up a village in the Jordan Valley to take care of, entertain, refresh, vacation these children and their families in that village for free, with counselors and with doctors and with helpers of the highest caliber. Chaim Topol played several movies, had several prizes in the United States and internationally, and he died at the age of 87. The reason I'm taking this time to talk to you about Chaim Topol is not about his death. There are two iconic movies that he made. The one that is very, very well known internationally is Fiddler on the Roof. It's one of the most successful films from Hollywood. Chaim Topol was the main actor, but Fiddler on the Roof is actually a book written by a writer called Shalom Aleichem. His real name was Solomon Naumovich Rabinovich, born and raised in Ukraine. At that time, Ukraine was Russia. He was born in 1859, May 13th, and no, actually I'm wrong, sorry. He was born on March 2nd, 1859, and died in May 13th, 1916. He was a Yiddish writer. He wrote his books in Yiddish. And the play and the musical and the movie called Fiddler on the Roof is based on one of his books that is named Tuvia the Milkman. Tuvia the Milkman. When it was translated to English, it was received the name Fiddler on the Roof. Now, Shalom Aleichem wrote a lot of comedy, but all the comedy that he wrote was very serious. And good comedy sometimes takes very serious topics and dishes them out for us, for the public, in a way that we don't become depressed, down, but that we get the points, digest the points with laughter, with humor, and as the movies in America said, take the medicine with a little bit of sugar, it goes down much better. But this book, Tuvia, the milkman, and the play and the movie Fiddler on the Roof, New York Broadway play Fiddler on the Roof. I saw it in New York with my wife many years ago when Zero Mostel was the main actor in the play on Broadway. But Shalom Aleichem, in that play, in that book, in that movie, written in the 19th century, is prophetic. What do I mean by prophetic? Look at this story. You have a poor milkman living in a little Jewish village, essentially with 1 or 2 cows, a horse and a carriage, and he goes around the village and the surrounding area selling milk, sometimes doing butter if he has some milk left over, cream left over, other things, but barely eking out a living. I've been to Ukraine more than once. Those villages are still poor. I was there in the early 1990s. In a village called Mayaki, about 80 kilometers from Odessa. The marketplace in that village was just like in Fiddler on the Roof. People had the table. Some people just had 2 bottles of milk to sell. That's all they had to sell. Some people had gone to town and got toilet paper and they were selling a roll of toilet paper. Other people had some old pair of used shoes. Very, very, very poor. But Shalom Aleichem, Solomon Naumovich Rabinovich, his real name, saw what's coming. He saw what's coming. He had 4 daughters. One married a communist, a socialist, the beginning thinking of socialism. Another one married a Gentile, a Christian. A third one married a tailor that wanted to move and go to America. The movie starts with the song, Tradition, Tradition. We have a tradition for everything. We do. But tradition has not been sufficient. And Fiddler on the Roof and Chaim Topol playing the part magnificently tells us that tradition, as important as it is not strong enough glue to keep society, and not even an Orthodox Jewish society, together, because it doesn't give us the tools, sufficient tools, strength to withstand the wiles of modern culture, of modernism. Yes, Tuvia wanted to keep tradition. And as he says in the beginning song of the Hollywood production, we have a tradition for everything. But Shalom Aleichem saw that Judaism is essentially deteriorating. Deteriorating not only from the pressure from the outside, from the Cossacks, from the anti-Semites. And in that time in Ukraine, there was a great anti-Semite who murdered, raped, pillaged villages. Petyura Khmelnytsky is considered a hero of Ukraine. In Judaism, is considered no better than Stalin or Hitler. Tradition, yes, tradition. But society is falling apart. One daughter married a communist and went to Siberia with him. The other one married a Christian and they had to disown her. Tears went by, crying in the family, crying of hers. Her Christian husband turned out to be a good man and take care of her. Well, but in the middle of the movie, there is a scene where the one of the daughters doesn't have a husband, doesn't have a matchmaker, doesn't find her somebody. The matchmaker, you pay the matchmaker, finds you a match. And if you're poor, you're not going to get the highest quality match. And so the butcher, that is a widower, an older widower, wants to marry Tuvia's daughter. And in that engagement party, Ukraine, Russia, they're drinking vodka. The Christians, the Gentiles, the Cossacks enter into the scene. And the name of the song is L'chaim, to life. That's what Jews say when they have a glass of vodka in their hand and they toast it and say L'chaim, to life. So I want you to see this scene, this song, and I want you to understand what's going on, and I will help you understand it. It's not going to be very long, not very short, but I am going to try to make it work in a way that you can see it. Let's see if I can make it work. I am at home and not in a studio, and therefore it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm going to try my best. Here it comes. Okay, you saw this song, and let me analyze it a little bit with you. What happens? The Jews made a deal among themselves. Laser Wolf and Tuvia the milkman made an agreement that Laser Wolf is going to marry Tzeitel, the milkman's daughter. The milkman Tuvia is thinking, my other three daughters, one married a communist, an atheist, went to Siberia. The other one married a tailor that wants to go to America. The third one married a Gentile. And now Tzeitel, here is a man that will provide her food. He's rich, he's stable, he can do it. Society, the old Jewish diaspora community is dissipating. In the old ways, the old traditions are not strong enough glue to keep that community together. But they celebrate. There's going to be a wedding in the community. They go to the pub, they celebrate. The Gentiles, the Christians in this case, Russian Orthodox Christians, in Russia and Ukraine, see the celebration of the Jews. See, the Jews are happy. They're dancing in their own way, they're drinking in their own way. But the Gentiles want to join. They want to bless. But when they start approaching the Jews, what happens? The Jews show a lot of fear, lack of confidence in their own selves, lack of confidence in their Christian neighbors. They don't understand why would these Christians that hate us want to celebrate with us, bless us. The Christians come and they offer a hand, and Tuvia thinks 3 times, 4 times before he touches the hand of the Gentile. He looks around to see what the other Jews are going to react. How are they going to accept it? Are they going to be with me or against me? Is it safe for me? Oy vey, is it safe for me? In the end he touches. Hey! The dancing starts. But even in the dancing, as the Christians, the Gentiles, the Cossacks approach the Jews, there is a lot of looking around, a lot of apprehension, a lot of suspicion. But finally, when the ice breaks, they take a drink, they start dancing. Each one is dancing his own dance, but they're interwoven. The dances are interwoven one with the other. There's a lot of prophetic in this song. To life, l'chaim. to life of the Jewish world for tomorrow and for today involves the dancing together, the rejoicing together, the celebration together of Jews and Christians. Because neither Christianity can exist without Judaism, nor can Judaism exist without Christianity. The Christian faith is already at the edge of the precipice, at the edge of returning to the same Roman, Greco-Roman paganism from which it was salvaged by the Jewish apostles that went and preached in Asia Minor, in Turkey, in Rome, in Greece, in the Balkans, and all the way to Asia. Archaeologists have found an ancient Byzantine Christian cemetery in Kazakhstan. Judaism is the stuff, the material, and the spiritual glue that keeps Christianity from sliding back into abject idolatry, and parts of Christianity have already gone there. And I don't know if they'll ever come back. Hopefully, yes. But the Jews also need the Christians. And that Tuvia, the fiddler on the roof, is in this scene that I showed you in the movie, with all the fears and apprehensions that are expressed by his face, by the Jews around him, gives the hand to the Gentile, gives the hand to the Christian, and they end up dancing together, celebrating together. If I continued the movie, you would see that at the end of the scene, the captain from the village comes to announce that there will be a pogrom, there will be an action of the Cossacks against the Jews because they want their land, they want their property, and they're going to come and kill and pillage and rape and take, which has happened so many times in history, in so many towns, in so many villages, and Jews have been persecuted and are being persecuted, even in the United States of America, in Germany, in France, all over Europe, in London, just because they're Jews. They didn't do anything. Some old Jews walking down an alley in London, a guy comes, beats him up, robs him. Sometimes they don't even rob them. They just beat them up. Incidents like that happen today more than they did a year ago, and today more than they did 10 years ago, and even more than they did 30 years ago. The anti-Semitic incidents in the West have increased by many tens of thousands of percent in the last few years, and they are going to continue to increase. But Tuvia and the Jews that have to leave Anatevka, their village that they were born and raised there, and their parents were born and raised there, have to leave there looking for a land. In this case, Israel didn't exist. When Shalom Aleichem wrote that book, Tuvia the Milkman, Israel didn't exist. America was their new Holy Land. Yeah, I had the daughter of a very famous professor of psychiatry in UCLA, Ungerleider was his name, family name. Came to Israel, became a believer in our congregation. Her mother came, then her father also came. Uh, when she wanted to stay in Israel and went on vacation to LA, he took her up in the mountains above Pasadena and told her, "This is the Holy Land, Los Angeles. This is the Holy Land, not Jerusalem, not Israel." And he gave her drugs to keep her from returning back to the land of Israel. She did return, finally got married to a member of our congregation. They both became Orthodox Jews, mainly because of the drugs that her father hooked her up so that she would be connected and obedient and need him. Yep. Yes. So, yes, Chaim Topol died, and that Fiddler on the Roof is one of his great movies, written by Sholem Aleichem, his real name, Solomon Rabinovich. The second movie that Chaim Topol made is also in a way very prophetic and very important and a great movie. It's a Hebrew movie. It's called Salach Shabati. Salach Shabati is an immigrant from the Arab countries, came to Israel. He's living in a temporary house made from tin and very inadequate. He's got lots of children. And poor, came with nothing. And is trying to live by working in agriculture together with the Arabs. And he lives in a camp, a transitional camp. It's called a ma'abara, which the dwellings are either tents from cloth or from tin or from cardboard or whatever you could find to put walls on the roof over yourself. He's got several children and a beautiful daughter. And he sees the kibbutz next to his place that he lives flourish. And he gets the point that if you don't aggressively fight for your rights, you're not going to get any. It's also a prophetic movie that prophesies in a way by the story. Ephraim Kishon, a survivor of the Holocaust, an immigrant from Hungary, great writer, writer of comedy that will bring you to tears. You laugh and cry at the same time. And he looks at the land of Israel with different eyes than those of us who were raised here, because he came in the 1950s from Hungary. And he sees Israel and Zionism as the hope of the Jewish people for a good life, for stable stability in the land, for rebuilding the land out of its desolation. And he makes a comedy out of it, just like Shalom Aleichem. A comedy that'll make you cry. Chaim Topol also in Salach Shabbati gives a great job of playing the main character. But Salach Shabbati understands something already in the early 50s when he comes here, that unless you fight your way through, and unless you demand your rights, and unless you grab them, even when they don't give it to you willingly, and don't let go, your future in Israel is going to always be poor, temporary, and not stable. Yes, these things were written very early. Shalom Aleichem wrote in the 19th century and early 20th century. I think he died in the year 16, 20th century, 1916. Ephraim Kishon wrote in the 50s and caught that spirit that is necessary in order to survive in this land of Israel, surrounded by Arab neighbors. Just last night there was a Palestinian Arab from a village that is not far from Jerusalem on the old road that Joshua and his men went off the hills down to the valley of Ajalon. In English, I think they say it. And the valley that is at the end of the low hill land, which is the Shephelah, and before the coastal plain, which is sandy and not very good for agriculture. So Salach Shabbati, written by Ephraim Kishon, was played by Chaim Topol, also excellent acting, received prizes both in Europe and in the United States. Salach Shabbati understands that in this land of Israel, a land that devours its inhabitants, a land that is harsh, the only way to survive is not to ask for favors, to take what is yours, what belongs to you, what is promised to you. It's sad, but as Israelis and as Jewish disciples of Yeshua, we have all understood this principle. Don't wait for somebody to come and give you something that is you deserve. When you have an opportunity to take it, grab it, put it in your pocket, and don't let anybody keep you from receiving what is your lawful right according to law, according to promise. And in the end, I just want to say that we have to learn these principles as disciples today, whether you live in the United States or Brazil or Finland or Europe or Germany or Russia or Ukraine or South America or Africa, doesn't make difference. Here are the two principles. You should know always that the enemy is out there lurking for you, and if you give him an excuse and an opportunity, he is going to pounce over you and defeat you and kill you. So you've got to be strong. Number two, don't automatically trust anybody. Test them. Look around you. Do it slowly, like Tuvia comes to the Cossack's arm. That is, once that just touches with one finger, then two fingers, then the hand, slowly, slowly. But you've gotta have a relationship with your enemies. Talk to them. Be nice to them. Be strong enough that they know that your strength is sufficient to win the battle. But then, if you have the opportunity to dance with them, to celebrate with them, to become friends with them, do it. But even that is no guarantee that tomorrow this will not change. So you've got to feed that friendship. You've got to feed that relationship. And third, from Salach Shabati, take what belongs to you in this world and in the world to come, and always use it for good. And may God bless you and bless all of us in the land of Israel who remember Chaim Topol and his great acting in several movies, and two of them are Salach Shabati and Tuvia the Milkman. And may God be with all of us. Celebrate your life. To life, l'chaim. In Yeshua, Amen.